So embracing our personal development, and for me, the best way to do that is through cognitive thought process, through understanding. It's like, oh yeah, this connects to this, connects to this. Let's get people back to pattern recognition and getting people back to that core to make things better, to grow, solution based, these kind of things. If people can see that, oh, look, there's these things going on in human development. Oh, maybe if we grow the individual, that'll reflect in society, versus having a society that tries to, you've got, so it's so fucked up. Because colonialism, telling other people what to do, mandating behavior, that's built from people that that didn't understand human behavior. One, they wanted things their way. They're people looking for a quick fix, people looking for a simple solution. What's a simple way that, hey, let's all get together and make some rules about how we think society should be, and we'll follow that plan. Well, that's delusional, because not everyone's going to fit exactly into those ideas. Those ideas that we wrote down now might not be 100 unilaterally applicable for going from here, throughout till the end of time. When does it stop? We're the U.S. government, that whole system, pseudo system, was built, 1776, 18, 19, 200 and some odd to 250 years ago. Who is using any process that was built 250 years ago? Who's using anything 250 years old? It's antiquated at best. So now we don't know anything about people and human behavior, anything more than what we did 250 years ago? Or the environment? And I'm talking about colonial society, We've got all this modern shit around us, and people are still reverting to a pseudo system that was built in 1776 or whenever. Old. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't measure up to any kind of logic. It doesn't measure up to any kind of standards, anything like that. So people have a delusion. It's the delusion of how things should be versus the understanding of how things are. Well, you can't do anything with someone that's delusional. That's psychosis. The world can't revolve around other people's delusions and psychosis. Technically, those things don't exist. The delusion itself doesn't exist. It's a delusion. The psychological profile of someone having delusions is an understanding and a reality, but the delusion itself doesn't exist. The delusion of having a sustainable, cohesive human management system, not recognizing the core essentials of the human or the environment that the human grew up in and evolved in and is in now, doesn't exist. That's a delusion. It's not in line with wildlife management. It's not in line with everything science understands about habitat and how organisms on this planet function. So it's the person locked in delusion, psychosis, addiction, is perpetrating their delusion on others. Welcome to America. That's how America was built. It's not understanding. It's trying to find a quick fix, and people are still trying to find a quick fix. And of course, the deeper in the hole that society gets, the more society's consciousness atrophies. And of course, there's segments that are not atrophying. There's segments that are growing. But entitlement, that consciousness in the individual, that's continuing to atrophy. societally, there's lots of atrophy, and people are going back to, oh, well, the law says this, or let's make a law about this, or, you know, the Constitution says this, or the Bible says this. People are going back to these things that are, like I said, antiquated at the very best. Not only antiquated, but, you know, there's a very good argument to be said that those were made from misunderstanding in the first place. And if someone said, and why are they so, you know, things aren't so long and complex, like both of those examples, the Constitution, the colonial legal system, and the Bible, for example, but you could put whatever kind of scriptures in there you want. It's not because people had a lot of understanding to begin with. So they came from a place of lack of understanding, obviously, or they wouldn't be there. So they came from a place of lack of understanding. So their credentials are, you know, their credentials aren't there to begin with. They might have been great at the time for the people that were in a place of lack of understanding. They might have been a stepstone. But now that stone's dragging us down. And that's such a common thing in contemporary wellness. The things that you use, the coping mechanisms you used before are dragging or holding you back now. That's like really, really common psychology now. So let's use the psychology we have now. Let's use the tools we have now to look back on those kind of things, and to look at ourselves from a, you know, holistic aspect, starting from as an organism on this planet. Let's lose the ideology and get proficient at pointing to ideologies. Because we've got people that are stuck in ideologies, and we're stuck in an ideology, the delusion of America, but still, these are people that are voting. You get people that have ideologies, and their vote counts just as much as the people that don't have their head so far up their ass. So just another understanding of how the system doesn't work. Plus, you've always had 50% of it's always been 50-50. Why are there two parties? That's stupid. And those two parties are always going back and forth. So roughly, you got a human management system, pseudo system, that's roughly 50% accurate. That's not doing anything. That's chance. 50-50 is chance. There's nothing there. And when it talks about human wellness, something that's that important, that needs to be up there like closer to 99% accurate, 90% accurate, 75%, but it's not there. It's never been there. It's never been there. It's always been 50%, which means it doesn't work. 50% is zero. That's chance. It's not a functioning system. I'll just continue the circle because, well, what do we do? First thing, Addiction 101, you have to recognize that there's a problem.